Hey everyone, Parker back here, one of the co-founders of Scholars for this week's LinkedIn Live series, part three. If you tuned in last week, the topic is different than what I mentioned the last live from DMs from a few of our early career recruiting leaders and fellow peers in the space, asking questions around what we should be including in our Keepwarm strategy. So this episode, what we're going to be covering are my thoughts on 5 things that every single Keepwarm strategy needs to include, whether it's for interns or for new grad hires that are going to be graduating in the spring. Obviously, please drop comments if you have any questions as I'm going through this as well. Invite friends to come on and want to make sure that this is as valuable as possible for everyone. So with that, let's dive in and talk about my thoughts on the 5 things that every single Keepwarm strategy needs to include. Number 1 is personalized information for every candidate about how to be successful and what to expect before they join and start on their first day. I think that teams need to think about how they break out different communication based on who candidates are and what their role really is. You shouldn't take just like a one-size-fits-all approach to your Keepwarm strategy. Break it out by role, office location, persona, you name it. Get creative with how we think about tailoring the experience for the candidate after they sign that offer to who they truly are. We should be setting expectations from the day that they sign an offer about what they can expect our communication to look like. Is it biweekly? Is it going to be monthly? So that they have an understanding of what you will be sending to them before they start on day one, and have a reduction of some candidate anxiety and stress that comes with maybe accepting your first internship or job and wanting to do everything you can as a candidate to make sure you're as ready to go as possible on day one. A part of this personalization should be bringing in stories from former interns who are maybe now managers that had a successful path from intern to full-time employee. Show them what a career trajectory could look like from the time that they join as an intern and to that point from that specific employee as well, and have them give advice about what they thought they did to be the best and get to where they are. And lastly, around ensuring that we're including personalized information, is as much as you can, provide candidates with a calendar maybe of events or things that they can expect for future expectations, and prompt them to add these events actually to their own personal calendar before they join, so that they can see what is upcoming and have that expectation on their end and how they communicate on a day-to-day basis as well. Second thing every Keepwarm strategy should include would be mentor introductions and open times that mentors are offering for their meetings. How we introduce our mentors to our candidates is extremely important in providing candidates with an understanding of the purpose that their mentor should be serving for them. Have some preset times where mentors are available, and set goals maybe even for your candidates for how many interactions that they should reach or strive for with their mentors before they join on that first day. Even provide candidates with thought starter questions that they can bring into that first mentor conversation to relieve a bit of stress or anxiety that could come with meeting your mentor for the first time, and help them get the most out of that first conversation with their mentor as well. Now, on the mentor side, this is extremely important. Train your mentors. Ensure that they know that the purpose that they are serving for your program and for your strategy, and even more importantly, for the candidates. You'd be surprised how many teams basically just get mentors to sign up for a form and then tell them that they're going to be paired with someone, and that's really it. I think it's extremely imperative to ensure that our mentors are fully prepared with materials and background on who their mentees are, but also the role that they're playing in our early career retention strategy as well. The third thing that we should include in every single Keepwarm strategy are recommended skills or certifications for candidates based on what their role is. It's not a requirement, but more so a suggestion from your team, showing the candidates that you're trying to give them and prepare them with everything possible to be a successful intern or new grad employee. What can candidates do to better themselves before they join? Think about those skills and what they need, and then recommend certifications, courses on LinkedIn, Google, you name it, that are free that they could do to show a level of initiative as well. Your team should be taking time to strategize what these could be based on the candidates. Going back to point one, which was let's truly ensure that everything we're sharing with them is personalized to who they are, and just don't generalize these recommendations. Make them feel as if this is for them to be the best employee, to be the best intern, and our team is there to support them so that they can reach the goals that they've set for themselves, but also that we've set for themselves as well. Take a breath. Fourth thing that every Keepform strategy should include would be community facilitation between the cohort. This can be tough for teams from a bandwidth standpoint as we think about how do we manage a group or a page or a community that we've put all of these candidates in that don't know each other, but we want them to start to form those friendships because we know how imperative that is for our retention goals overall. One of the most common things I see from teams is they set up a page, they don't have a management strategy, no communication is happening, and no one wants to speak out and be the first one that says something to their group. So how do we combat that? Think about how we drive those conversations between candidates from the time that they accept that offer. Put yourself in their shoes as well and ask yourself, what would you want someone to share or prompt or provide you with that would get you to start a conversation, to spark that level of community and engagement that we know that we want? And I know management is hard, but it is extremely imperative. So whose role is it to manage it? Is it multiple people? And what is their strategy for management? How can we set forth a calendar for that management that is going to truly ensure that all of that management is achieving our goals of helping facilitate that community through and through? And lastly, within this community facilitation, let's get creative and with fun ways to get candidates engaged with one another. Let's not just throw a meetings link in there and ask them to come and join and hear us talk. Let's think about using trivia or games. I know I mentioned in the last LinkedIn Live, water cooler thought starters, things that are going to get the candidates to understand that there are friends or potential friends that have interests or hobbies that are alike to them so that they can feel as comfortable as possible and start to truly understand what that community could be like and truly how, from our standpoint as a recruiting team, we ensure that we're maximizing that engagement and that sense of community because we know how important it is to play in towards our retention strategy. Last, but certainly not least, the fifth thing that every Keepform strategy should include would be mixing up the type of information and content that you're sharing with candidates from the time they accept that offer until they start on day one. I recommend you follow up events with surveys or pulse checks to see how the candidates felt that event went, if it was helpful for them, and if it wasn't, why not, and what could we do to be better. Follow up a required document like a background check that you need signed from a candidate with some sort of reward. The reward doesn't have to be a physical reward. It can be as simple as, hey, thanks for filling out your background check. In exchange for that, we're going to send you the number one thing that every single intern that has gotten a full-time offer has done. Super easy, super simple. It can be a 30-second video. But the thought process of you did something and we're going to reward you goes a long way for that candidate as well. Lastly, ask candidates what they're looking for from an information standpoint at the very beginning of your Keepform strategy. As much strategy as we can put into this and thought we can put into execution, at the end of the day, the goal is the Keepform strategy is to make sure that our candidates are being retained. They don't want to entertain other offers. And with that goal in mind, what they want should be number one priority. As simple as saying, hey, we're so excited to have you on the team. what are you looking to learn from us before your first day can do leaps and bounds for how we think about strategy for our Keepworm strategy and execution of that over that time period before they start on day one. So those are the 5 things that I would highly recommend every Keepworm strategy includes. Number 1, personalized information about how to be successful and what to expect. Number 2, mentor introductions, as well as mentor training and goal setting. Number 3, recommend certifications, courses, or skills that candidates could take before they join on day 1 to make sure that they're as successful of an employee or an intern as possible. Number 4, community facilitation between our cohorts and ensuring that we are consistently managing that community and doing our best to drive a sense of community between the cohort. And number 5, let's mix up the type of content that we're sharing with candidates in our Keepworm strategy and truly make sure that we're listening to candidates about what they want to hear from us in that Keepworm strategy to drive maximum engagement. In full conclusion, it's imperative for teams to take a holistic approach to planning what your Keepworm strategy will entail. Laying it out on a whiteboard could be one of the best ways to have a visual of what do we have in place, but then also where are our gaps and what can we do to fill in those gaps to ensure that we're doing our part as an employer to make candidates feel as welcome and warm as possible. As always, on the bottom, please follow our Scholars LinkedIn page, join our Slack community. We've just started it up and it's super exciting. We've got tons of awesome early career leaders in there. The Slack community, what we're doing is looking to talk about all things early career candidate engagement, experience, Keepworm strategy, retentions, renegs, you name it. It's a safe space where teams can come and ask questions and see what other leaders are doing to ensure that what we're doing for candidates is truly delivering an exceptional experience. And check out our website for any resources or blogs that we've written around early career engagement and retention. Next Tuesday's episode currently is covering why and when candidates are most likely to renege. Please, please, please DM me if you have questions about anything early career candidate experience that you want me to talk about. Like I mentioned, this episode was driven from people that wanted for us to continue and obviously address this topic. And I encourage anyone with questions to reach out. If you want to come on the show as well, please let me know. I would love and welcome a guest as well. And last but certainly not least, next Wednesday, I'm so excited. Going to be hosting our first kind of open Q&A about all things renegs. I'm going to drop the link to the registration for this event. It's a 30-minute Zoom. It's super easy on next Wednesday. And our goal is to just have teams bring their questions and be able to answer them and see how I can help. With that, thanks everyone for tuning in. And I hope that this was helpful for 5 things every Keepworm strategy needs to include.